more messaging on the war has moved from the war is coming to an end to war going to be bombing Iran to the Stone Ages.
Right.
And we've heard a range of those
Sure.
kind of messages. So so which is it? Are you winding this down?
Can't tell you.
Or are you escalating
I can't tell
it?
you. I don't know. I can't tell. Depends what they do. This is a critical period. They have a period of, well, till tomorrow at 8 o'clock. They have till tomorrow. Now we'll see what happens. I can tell you they're negotiating, we think, in good faith. We're going to find out. We're giving them till tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And after that, they're going to have no bridges. They're going to have no power plants. Stone Ages, yeah.
U.S. military seized an Iranian cargo ship after a 6-hour standoff at sea as the crew on board tried to break the president's blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. It does follow a tense weekend when Iran opened fire on cargo ships Friday, violating the ceasefire. And now a deadline is fast approaching for Iran to accept the terms of a broader peace deal. A U.S. delegation led by Vice President J.D. Vance is still set to head to the region, but there are questions this morning whether Iran will show up at all. President Trump posted, quote, "We're offering a fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it, because if they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy." Let's get right to Mark Boyle at the live desk with the very latest in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. Good morning to you, Mark. What are you learning?
Tight tensions this morning. We are running out of time. It appears over the weekend, Jan, Iran testing just how secure the U.S. naval blockade actually is. And they found out their answer. The president posting this on social media about that encounter right here, saying the Iranian-flagged cargo ship, nearly 900 feet long, weighing as much as an aircraft carrier, tried to get past the blockade, and it did not go well for them. CENTCOM showing what American forces were able to do here. They offered that warning. They told the ship to go back. It refused. The U.S. Navy ended up firing a missile into the engine room. And again, this is some of the video they posted right here, stopping that boat in its tracks. U.S. forces later boarding it and taking it over. And this wasn't the only attempt of ships trying to get through that U.S. blockade in the past 24 hours right here. This is a map that gives you an idea of what tried to get by. The details eventually provide that these ships went right back where they came from. In the meantime, U.S. negotiators on standby this morning to try and work out a deal with Iran. Right now, the temporary ceasefire between the two is only good until Wednesday this week, unless Iranian leaders come to the negotiating table, Jan.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Vice President J.D. Vance still planning to lead that U.S. delegation in Pakistan for another round of peace talks with Iran before that ceasefire is set to expire. However, it's still unclear if Iran will show up. Our very own Washington insider, Armstrong Williams, joining us now to break it all down for us. Good morning to you, sir. Happy Monday. The U.S. did seize an Iranian ship overnight after that 6-hour standoff. The ceasefire deal with Iran, as we know, ends Wednesday night, and a U.S. delegation still planning to head to Pakistan as of right now for peace talks. How do you see this whole thing playing out?
Jan, you know, it seems like every Monday at this time we have the same repetitious conversation. I don't think Iran has any interest in a ceasefire or stopping this conflict. I think this is more about leverage than anything else. It's like a cat and mouse game. Iran knows America's strength. America knows Iran's weakness, and this will continue until further escalation. I don't see, and I hope preferably I'm wrong, any de-escalation anywhere in this equation.
So what's it going to take for it to end then?
I just think Iran wants eventually all-out war. And I think if that's what Iran wants, Trump is more than willing to abide, because Iran is not going to give in to Trump's demands and negotiation tactics. The only ceasefire we have right now is between Lebanon and Israel. That's just the way I see it.
All right, and I want to get your take on the executive order President Trump signed over the weekend to fast-track research and access to psychedelic treatments, especially for veterans dealing with PTSD and trauma. And there's a lot of folks, even in the medical community, that say it was about time. So how significant is this shift in how we approach mental health treatments in this country?
But Jan, it's a new frontier for us. No longer will our veterans or other Americans have to go across the waters to other places whose bar is much lower than ours. I think the president has signaled a new way that we look at these psychedelics. We don't frown upon them anymore, that we should give them access, since it is shown that they do work to a certain extent. But I think we should also move with caution, because we also see the downside. There are a lot of people in this country that suffer from depression and a lot of anxiety. We just have to see where this new frontier takes us.
And make sure it's not abused, because you make a good point there. It could go one of two ways. Now, there is speculation about two of the oldest Supreme Court justices and how long they plan to stay, both Justice Samuel Alito and Justice Clarence Thomas. We're talking 76 and 77 years old. Are you hearing that either could retire during Trump's term so that Trump could be the one to replace them?
Well, Justice Thomas will die in the court. That's the only way he will leave the Supreme Court.
Okay.
I think it's very probable that Associate Justice Alito stepped down at the end of this session of June. I think privately he's had some health issues that he's been dealing with. He did have a fall recently. So I think that's just not rumor. I think there's some jockeying going on right now for his replacement. The fact they want this to happen before the November elections, they're sure that there's a solid majority of conservatives on the court. So I think there's something to this, and we'll see at the end of this session in June.
That's what we're hearing. And we're also seeing there is a new DOJ probe into former Congressman Eric Swalwell. How serious are these sexual assault and sexual misconduct allegations against him? And in cases like this, how does a prosecutor go about securing a criminal case when sometimes the only evidence is the word of the accuser?
You know, probes are only probing allegations. Nothing has been proven. But when you have a former staffer and the kinds of things that they're saying, you never know what trove of evidence and recordings and photos that they may have. So you've just got a lot of process to move forward and just see where the evidence leads us, and just, reserve judgment until then. I know we find this hard to believe that in America, a person is still innocent until proven guilty. But he did suspend his campaign. He's no longer running for Congress, and obviously he's taking these matters very seriously.
Yeah, and he also resigned. All right, Washington Insider, Armstrong Williams, thank you very much for joining us. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Jen.